Bronco, how
Impressions the first day of work?
First days are always fun, man. All kinds of energy and excitement, and our team is really anxious to play. A lot of today could have been spent holding back, but we let them go. Not much extracurricular, which was good, especially as hard as they practiced. I think our team is hungry. I think they have a chip on their shoulder. I think they feel like they have a lot to prove, and I was impressed today.
Were you happy with the conditioning level of the guys?
Yeah, in fact, already my early comments with the coaches when I came off was I thought we actually went a little bit too much, but they handled it well, and so I didn't intend to push them quite that hard until maybe 4 or 5 or 6 days from now. But as usual, coaches get a little overexcited, and so we asked a lot of them for the first day, and they handled it well, especially because they did their conditioning test this morning also.
You talking about Jamaal was out here talking about he's going to miss the first game. What went into the decision there?
You know, I work with young people just all the time on ways to grow and develop, and sometimes it includes discipline like that, sometimes it doesn't. But Jamaal's handling it really well, and I look forward to helping him do that.
Are there going to be other suspensions?
That there's going to be other starters that missed the first game?
I won't confirm really any of that. Any other players that need development, I'll handle internally, and I'll act appropriately. But any issues that we have, not only now but in the past, I know it will be to the players' benefit, and so I'm anxious to move forward.
What did you think of the new receivers?
We have more balls going downfield maybe in the first practice today than I've seen maybe all spring. More weapons, more depth, more athleticism, more speed, more ball skills. Now the consistency, the diligence, the character, maturity to handle BYU and the workload to go with it, that'll play out over time. But in terms of the ability and athletic ability, that's certainly there.
Just one day, but did you see any improvement in Taysom in throwing the football?
Too early to tell, and certainly not in enough situations to say, you know, here's where he is now.
Couldn't help but notice Harvey Longy out there playing linebacker. Is that where you intend to keep him?
That's where he chose to play.
Okay.
And very impressed, not only with him as a person, but as a football player just in one practice. So we're right at the beginning of his career, but I'm impressed with him.
Did you ever watch him personally in high school?
Oh yeah, we watched him really closely, and we had offered him a scholarship at BYU, and so I've been impressed with him for a long time.
When you saw him personally, did you think that's a running back? And were you surprised that he wants to be a linebacker?
At that time, we were recruiting him as a running back, and that was really when Harvey expressed interest in BYU. That's what I believed he wanted to play. It wasn't until after his mission, when he came home, then set up a meeting with me, and in person he said that's what he wanted to do.
What was your reaction when you learned that he had interest in transferring to BYU?
You know, maybe not as specific to him, but Division I football players from in-state that are on missions and living the standards, that are really good players, and then they have interest in BYU, just in general, that's a great thing.
Bronco, what did you focus on today?
That's a great question. My role is shifting, and a little bit different as I'm spending most of my time when I have time. It's interesting that time used to be in the defensive staff room. It's amazing how much happens now with recruiting and fundraising and development and other things that can fill that time pretty quickly. So my focus was, from a broader perspective, widening the lens, is what does this football team look like? And not only from an athletic perspective, but a commitment perspective, a chemistry perspective, and then how best to evaluate where that is, and then design practice tomorrow collectively. I have been pretty strongly tilted, as you know, one way. I think my perspective now will end up being better for the whole team. And I'm able to provide input offensively, not necessarily in recognition what the defense is doing, but why they're doing it. And hopefully that helps us stay a step ahead.
Your thoughts on turning the reins kind of over to Nick Howell as a defensive coordinator?
Well, we've spent a long time together, and there's probably no one that thinks as similarly as I do, and no one knows as much of what I want as he does. And so I think it's time. And man, it's not easy because it's fun. I love coaching defense and calling plays, and I feel like I have a direct impact on game day on helping kids that I recruited, but I've been helping basically half. And ultimately for the program to move even farther, what I'm banking on is helping more players will help our program at a higher level.
The workload probably just increased for Adam Heaney.
Yeah.
How did he handle it out there today?
Well, I would say it's a great start. Time will tell.
Is Michael Lisa moved to running back because of the Jamaal situation?
Michael Lisa is at outside linebacker.
On the roster it says running back.
Yeah, he's an outside backer and really did a nice job today. So linebacker again will be a strength. There's a lot of bodies, and I actually maybe of all the positions today, I saw more defensive linemen than I thought in terms of players that I think will contribute. I didn't expect to see that today, but I think my main takeaway, besides athleticism on the perimeter and downfield at the receivers, was the defensive line.
Do you like Trey Dye as kind of a change
I
of
like
pace
Trey
back?
Dye a lot. That was one of the surprises to me. Not that I didn't anticipate he'd be a good player, but his ball skills, his ability to manage the pace and look confident in his first college practice. He did a nice job.
Coach, there were a few guys not in your 105 that have been with you before. Drew Riley, Brett Thompson, Kevin Bills. Can you speak to any of those at all?
Yeah, in all of those cases, Drew Riley, medical, Kevin Bills, medical. What was the other one? Brett Thompson, also medical. Yeah, so all those have happened fairly recently.
Are they done, or are they just
No,
for the year?
they're finished. Their football careers are done.
Coach, now that you're an offensive specialist,
I think you're going a little too far.
now that you're an offensive specialist,
I think you're going a little
Coach,
too far.
What are some of the issues that face this offense, and what are you guys looking to work on in fall camp?
When I become a specialist, I'll answer the question.
From a head coach perspective, what are some of the offensive issues you guys are facing, and what are you guys looking to work on in fall camp?
Score more points against the best teams.
Kevin O'Mary get a year back? Is that what? The
Yeah.
deep snapper?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we got a snapper.
Is that a relief?
You must be living right.
Back to
That
Harvey.
was, I'm glad you guys acknowledged.
Back to Harvey. You mentioned playing the linebacker. He's for sure playing this year, or are you still debating whether or not to redshirt him?
Oh, I think we all want him to play right now.
Is he eligible to play right away?
Yeah.
Bronco, did it strike you that today is the first day of year 10?
That doesn't even fit in terms of making sense. Year 10 is, number one, if you would have asked me, would I make it to year 10? That answer, as many times I've said earlier, I didn't expect to be here that long, but I'm excited. And the position I'm in now as head coach, it almost feels, it doesn't feel exactly like, but it almost feels like I'm starting not over, but new. And I'm refreshed about that kind of approach and what it might do for our program.
4 weeks from now, you're playing a game. Just enough time, long time away. What's your perspective in terms of the window that way?
Long time away, and I really felt that way with most of our teams. I still think college football in general could shave a week off of fall camp and still be ready to play for the well-being of the student athletes. Most coaches won't agree with that, but I think it's 1 week too long still. That doesn't mean we'll go out and play perfectly the first game, but I think you can get ready shorter.
You're refreshed. You said that last year as well when
Did
you
I?
had the new offensive coaching staff coming in. Talk about year 2 under this new offensive coaching staff and just exactly where you are as a head coach right now.
I must be doubly refreshed then if I was refreshed last year. What's higher than refreshed? I'm re-energized. Reinvigorated, yeah. I like our coaches. I wouldn't be playing the role I am now if I didn't think both could do an outstanding job. And so, yeah, I like where we are.
As far as the discipline that may or may not be coming, are you going to leave it up to the players to kind of announce that like Jamaal did?
Certainly, my intention wasn't to announce anything, so that Jamaal did. That was kind of put me on reaction mode. I would much prefer these matters when possible. I know it's not always possible, when possible, just to be handled internally, and then we keep it that way. Sometimes that happens at BYU, sometimes it doesn't. So my hope is that it can remain that way, but I'll deal with it if it doesn't.
Last question.
It almost feels like you're not only a head football coach, but a bishop as well.
I prefer mission president.
Okay,
actually.
I'll go with that. Talk
Yeah.
about the delicate matter of balancing those two roles.
It's a great thing. The only difference really between maybe an ecclesiastical role / coaching at BYU is the visibility of those that are in my care, and there isn't any autonomy. But they are the same age. They are the same in terms of qualifications. They're terrific young people. They do so many good things, and occasionally they struggle. And when they do, it's news. That doesn't change the intent of working with them to help themselves and others, which is a great thing about my job.